Okay, so in this question, it says what distinguishes one element from another. Now, if you go through each and every option, that says, the first one would say that the number of protons in the nuclei of their atoms, which basically distinguishes one element from another, which is rather a true statement. Because if you were to use that the number of atoms in a sample of each element, you cannot distinguish between them. But if you were to say the number of electrons in the nuclei of the atom distinguishes one element from another, it would be a false statement as well, because by electrons you cannot judge that one element is different from another. So option A is the correct answer. So from previous question, if you start reading this question which says what determines the properties of an element, and here because it's using the word determines and previously it used the word distinguishes, there is a lot of difference going on. Now if you have the word distinguishes, the correct answer for that would be the element's protons. But since it says here, it says determines the property of an element that they contain within themselves. In order to find out which element is which, you use the element's electrons to distinguish that. So here we move on to our third question, which says how is an ionic bond formed between two atoms. Now if you read the first option, it says a pair of electrons is shared between two atoms. Now this is not how an ionic bond is formed when there's two atoms. The requirement is that there should be oppositely charged ions, which basically means that there should be one positively charged ion and there should be one negatively charged ion. So the correct answer here would be option D, which says in the ionic bond formed between two atoms is because of an electrical force that forms between oppositely charged ions. And this is how an ionic bond is formed between two atoms. Now moving on to our fourth question, which says what term describes a substance that is made when two or more different atoms bond together in a certain ratio. When it says a certain ratio, they're talking about a compound substance, because if you were to look at hydrogen and oxygen, they have different ratios between them, because hydrogen has one ratio while oxygen has O2, two of oxygen present, because you cannot get one oxygen by itself in the nature. So when you have different types of ratio, which is oxygen has 2 and hydrogen has 1, combined together, it's known as compound. Moving on to our last example, which says what is formed when an atom gains or loses electron. Now the answer of this question is rather simple, because if you look at the option A, would be an element. An element is consistent of itself, but it's not actually saying that it loses or gains electrons, because it's found in nature naturally. When you look at compound, it's a mixture of two different atoms that are mixed together in a certain ratio. Now if you were to look at a molecule usually contains of two or more atoms. But if you look at option C, an ion is what is formed when an atom gains or loses electrons. So here the answer to this question would be option C. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson on the atoms and ionic bonding and compound ions. And these are a few examples of the whole chapter that we have talked about in the previous videos. So this is just a little exercise that we needed to do, and I covered it up. So hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Give it a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.